What's up YouTube? My name is Joystick. I have a brand new video for you today. We're going to be talking about the tanks meta tier list. I do this every month. You guys know I like to run through each category, each role in Overwatch. Just make sure you guys know exactly what are the best heroes in each role. So let's get right into this. First off, I'm going to start by throwing Zarya right into S tier. I think Zarya is probably like the most consistent tank across the board in terms of meta right now. I firmly believe that the meta is Ryan Zarya for the most part. Depending on each rank, obviously, but for the most part, I think Ryan Zarya is probably the most solid composition. So it's kind of weird that I think Zarya is better than Ryan. I just think balance wise, I think Ryan should be better than Zarya, but in the actual Ryan Zarya matchup, majority of the time it's your off tank that's carrying. Like, if you have a solid main tank, it's good, but the off tank is really what carries. So that's what I think is kind of weird about the game right now, but that's just how it is. Balance of the game. Zarya is really strong. Obviously, Graviton Surge. If you're good at maintaining that high energy, the Zarya are going to be getting a lot of kills, and you're going to be doing a lot of damage, especially the shields. And you can probably 1v1 most targets in the game as well. So Zarya is still really, really good. So I'm going to bring in Reinhardt right behind Zarya. Like I said, I think it's weird that I think Zarya is stronger than Ryan, but Ryan can only carry to a certain extent. If you have a really bad off tank and your Reinhardt main, it's still so hard to win the game. No matter how good you are at Ryan, your off tank has to be right there on the same page. So Ryan is obviously a just good centerpiece in the meta right now. And I honestly don't think he's a super big carry hero, but he's kind of a pick that you need right now. So I think Ryan is, fair to say at S, maybe even A+ almost, but I think S is fine. Considering what meta is looking out to be, Ryan Zarya. So I think Reinhardt deserves a spot here, which is cool to see. Since the meta hasn't been like this in forever, but I think Reinhardt is he's still a weird, he's still in a weird spot. Earthshatter is still bad. I think Earthshatter still needs a buff. His shield still gets one shot basically, and Reinhardt still gets CC'd like crazy. So yeah, he's in a weird spot, but I think he's still good. I'm gonna bring in Wrecking Ball at A tier. Actually, I think Wrecking Ball still is low key a solid pick in the meta. Even though the meta is turning out to be a rush brawl composition, I think Wrecking Ball still finds pretty solid value in most situations. If you're able to avoid a lot of the CC from the enemy, McCree flashbang, even if they're running a Mei, you have to be careful of that. There's just little things that you got to be wary of when you're going in with Ball here, but I think Ball still finds a ton of value, especially on King of the Hill maps, the control points, a lot of open space for Ball to get that value and get that disruption in. So I think Wreck Ball is still pretty okay here. A solid A tier pick. Minefield is still great, and you can still 1v1 most of the snipers in the game, so that always helps. Next, I want to bring in Winston. I think Winston is super, super underrated. I've been winning a lot of games myself playing Winston, a very flanky play style, and kind of dropping in on the targets and then jumping out to get healed, and then farming up that nano boost. If you're running an Ana with the Winston, it's really, really strong. So you can get that nano boost on the Winston, maybe take out a target, and then you farming your primal rage, and then when you're about to go down, you want to pop that primal rage. You get that extra life and that extra heals. So I think Winston's super, super underrated. It's kind of a hot take here. I feel like a lot of people are not looking at Winston and not playing him enough because they think he just dies too easily. But that's why you have to play a little bit of a different play style. You have to play a more of a flanky, sneaky play style as Winston, so that you don't actually just die in the first fight. So you can't just take on the Ryan Zarya head on. You have to take that angle and take that high ground, and abuse the fact that Reinhardt can't swing on you from the high ground, right? So you gotta be very, very careful about that. when you pick this hero. So I'm gonna bring a Diva right behind Winston. I think Diva is pretty solid even in like the rush composition. Like if you're running like the Reinhardt Diva with like speed boost, I think that's actually pretty good even against Zarya. If you're a good Diva, you know, there's a lot of things that you can like you abuse with like her matrix, and then Diva bomb's obviously pretty solid. And I think just being able to like maneuver high ground if you are playing against like double snipers or something, like Diva can effectively, you know, counter that. Or if they have like a Fair Mercy, Diva's still good at countering Fair Mercy, you know, in that regard. So I think Diva's also a little bit underrated, but it's also really easy to feed on this hero. Like if you're playing against like a good Zarya, they're gonna just abuse the fact that you're playing Diva and probably just farm your mech and farm grabs. But that's, you know, that's really case to case. I think Diva still can find value from here to there. Obviously with Winston, Diva is still pretty solid, and Wrecking Ball Diva is actually not bad as well if you're playing that type of composition. I've seen that work as well. Diva, you know, still strong and kind of moving back into the meta a little bit, but not like, obviously not like a must pick by any means, but still solid across the board. I'm gonna bring in Arisa at B tier. I think Arisa's a pick that's more situational. You can run like Arisa Rein against like the rush, and I've seen that work, but it's still like kind of hard because Arisa kind of gets a little bit run over, especially if like a Mei or something. So you got to be careful when you're playing Arisa. I mean, Arisa with Sigma is pretty decent too if you have like a full poke composition with like a Zenyatta and you're getting that high damage output with like Junkrat, Hanzo, you know, that shield break, and you're actually like breaking the rush before it even happens. I think that's where like Arisa really shines, is that high damage composition. But like you don't want to run Arisa with like anything else really. Like you can't really run her with like a ball or a Diva. It's just like really awkward compositions that just kind of get like run over, especially in this like high tempo meta. Just got to be careful where you pick her. I think you still got on like situations like Junkertown, for example, you know, where you can pull targets, pull snipers. She's really good against double snipers. So really depending on what the DPS have, I think that's where Arisa can really shine. Next, I'm going to bring in Sigma, which is kind of similar to a situation with Arisa. I wouldn't really run Sigma like with like the rush composition. Sigma is kind of like the same. Like you only really want to run it when you want to run that poke composition, that high DPS, maybe double sniper, you want the Baptiste and the Zen, you know, and then you're running the double shield Arisa Sigma. I think like outside of that pair, it's not really that effective. Sigma kind of gets just absolutely mowed down if they're running around Zarya with the speed boost in the Mei. Like Sigma is really vulnerable in that regard. So last but not least, I'm gonna bring in Roadhog at C tier. I don't think Roadhog is he's not terrible, but like he just can get countered so high by meta. You know, if you're running a correct rush composition, Ryan, Zarya, that standard, you know, with the Mei and the Lucio and all that, Roadhog just gets run down so quickly. Like as soon as he tries to heal, you get that Mei freeze onto him, and then he's just done for. So I've seen like good Roadhogs like flank a lot, or like pick Roadhog if like the enemy isn't playing like meta. And if they're not playing meta, I think Roadhog still can get away with a lot of value. So it just really depends what the enemy's running. And if you're gonna pick Roadhog, you got to be really careful because there's so many counters to him right now currently. Like Zarya is just better. It's just a better pick than Roadhog the majority of the time. So it just makes sense, you know, based on meta and all that. But I think Roadhog is you know, not the greatest, but it really depends on your play style and who you are as a player. So definitely keep that in mind as you play your ranked games. That'll wrap things up today. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys check out my Twitch streams, twitch.tv/joystick. Changed my name from Joystick, Joystick OW. So just a heads up there. And I hope you guys enjoy these videos. I make a tank, you know, DPS and support video every month. So look out for the next 2 videos, and I'll see you guys next time.